Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about 15 steps that you can take to heal yourself from most medical conditions, even severe ones, to at least get some relief, start building strength, flexibility, and really enhance the nutrition in your body. All right. First and foremost, you've got to have the mindset. You've got to get into the right state of mind to embark on this journey. Because if you have any doubts, negativity, then it's not going to go so well. Some of these conditions are really hard to work through, and it's very understandable why you would be in that state of mind. But if you really, really want to heal, then you're going to have to get into the right mindset. You're going to have to accept the situation that you're in, number one, and then have the patience to carry out what needs to be done in order to start building that strength, gaining the flexibility, getting your nutritional health in order. So you really have to have that right state of mind, okay? And that will include other things as well that I will address. But the next step is to set goals for yourself. All right. You've got to visualize what you want. That's really important. I did that in my own journey and it really worked. I mean, the mind is a powerful thing and sometimes we don't want to believe it, but our thoughts really do manifest our reality. All right. So energy flows where attention goes, right? Energy flows where attention goes. So if you can get into that right mindset, visualize where you want to be, and then set goals to execute, then you're already on the road to success. So that's going to be extremely helpful to set those things up. Set your goals, set small goals at first. I mean, even if it's just a short term goal for the week, the day, and then you can have long term goals as well. Like, where do you want to be? In my case, it was I want to walk again, or I want to play guitar again. And that seemed to be an impossible task at the time, but I was able to execute what I visualized by setting those goals and then carrying forward with those goals. So very important. Number three, keep journals. Keep journals. I know this sounds strange to some, but this really helps in a number of ways. First of all, you can keep track of your progress. It keeps you accountable. So, you're always checking in on yourself. All right. And you can see down the road like how far you've come. And you can keep journals on your nutrition. You can keep journals on your emotional state. You can keep journals on the workout routines you're doing, even the stretching routines. So this is a good idea to keep some journals and log your progress in. And it's going to be very helpful. It's also very cathartic to get out what you have inside of you, your thoughts, um, your goals, whatever it is. You get that emotion out, and it does feel good, especially when you don't have many people around to you know vent with or whatever. So it's definitely a good idea. Um, then you want to build a diet and nutrition plan. So there's a bunch of information out there on various different diets. It gets really confusing for people. But I really found Mark Hyman's book, The Pegan Diet, very helpful. He distills all this diet information down. He came up with the idea. He was sitting at a table with a vegan and somebody who's promoting the keto diet, and they were going back and forth. And he just felt like this is crazy that people are arguing these various different diets like there's some type of religion. And he wanted to distill the information down and make it real easy for people. I mean, there's too much extremes going on with that, and I just personally find it unnecessary to go that far. I mean, it's like we got to live a little, but at the same time, we have to really focus on some of the basics out there. For instance, like the overconsumption of sugar. I mean, that's really a very simple thing that we can do. And it's really hard for people. I mean, we've gotten so accustomed to that sweet flavor that, people just can't give it up. But there are ways to go about it. And I'll discuss that in a video down the road. But for now, we're going to move on to eliminating infections in the gut. This is an important one. A lot of us have parasites, and there's overgrowth of yeast. There needs to be an elimination of these things first and foremost when we're working on the interior of our body, internal medicine conditions. That needs to be addressed first and foremost. Any infections going on, sinus infections, whatever it might be, those need to be eliminated and gone. All right. So, whatever needs to be done there has to be done first and foremost. Then you can move on to the next step, which is healing the gut. See, once these infections are brought down, you get on this anti-inflammatory diet. um, that really brings down the inflammation in your body. So then you can go in with healing substances like L-glutamine, slippery elm powder, aloe vera powder, and deglycerized licorice root, and that heals that gut lining. So very important to do for any condition. Um, this is the root of a lot of problems. It even triggers autoimmune diseases. Leaky gut's a big term being thrown around now, but I mean, this is the reality we're facing because of the overconsumption of seed oils and sugars and all this stuff that just generates inflammation and creates these environments where yeast can grow in the intestines, and bad bacteria start growing more so than your beneficial bacteria. So it's really a mess, and it needs to be under control because then you can absorb any other healing substances that you're going to consume. You won't have this stress on your body. And while this is going on, you really have to support the adrenals because there's a lot of stress going on in the body when this is occurring. So as you're going through this dietary process, reducing inflammation, healing the gut, you want to support the adrenals. Then you can move on to cleansing the liver. You can cleanse the liver through multiple substances, which I'll get into in later videos. There's phase one, phase two detoxification in the liver that needs to be addressed as well. This way, the body can easily process these toxins that end up in the body and eliminate them. Okay, so along with the kidneys, this will be very beneficial. When you get to that point, you're really doing well with your internal environment. You also want to make sure you're maintaining the balanced blood sugar and fatty acid metabolism at the same time. So it's a lot to take on, but these things don't have to be done forever. Once you get rid of the infections and you heal the gut and you've cleansed the liver out and the liver now can function properly, you can ease up on this treatment for yourself and you can move on with your life a little bit more. So you have to do the work up front, but over time you can let up. The whole idea is not to take supplements forever and ever, but with this diet and nutrition plan, there are going to be some substances you're going to have to take, for your specific condition in order to heal properly. Okay, so now we've moved on to um, applying activities that fill the heart with joy. I included this because for me, in my healing, in order for me to continually move forward, I had to keep my spirits lifted. And I had to find things that were going to fill my heart with joy so that I can do that because there were so many emotions that went on. This goes with mindset, I guess, because you're going to go through a wide array of emotions, and you've got to let that happen. I mean, sometimes people want to push these emotions away that are coming up because they're uncomfortable, but we need to experience them and just keep in mind that we shouldn't stay there. You know, we have to allow the emotion and then let it go and find things constantly that are going to bring us joy. And just as an example, for me, it was going out into the forest with my recumbent bike that I got donated to me, and I'd bring my camera and just go take pictures of birds. That really, I got interested in that because I've been in bed for years and I wanted to get out in nature and just being out there watching the birds fly around and identifying them, trying to take pictures. It was like a hunt. It really brought joy to my heart. That was for sure one thing that did that for me. So you just have to find things that are going to do that for you. Hobbies too. Hobbies are very cathartic. I'm also an artist. I was drawing. That was very therapeutic, art therapy for me. So all of those kinds of things are going to be important for your journey healing from a chronic condition. So definitely keep that in mind, okay? If you need to, seek mental health professionals. There's a stigma a lot of times for men. I know I didn't want to do it for the longest time, but under my circumstances, I had to. I had no other choice in the matter. Well, I guess I did, but um, I really needed to address what I was going through, and there's no shame in that. I don't do it anymore, but I did it for a couple of years, and I'm glad I did. Okay, so if you need it, if you're really, really down in the dumps and you're going down a really bad path, it's it's a good idea to seek those professionals. Okay. For neurological conditions, pain conditions, chronic musculoskeletal issues, fibromyalgia, all these, it's a long road. But if you do corrective exercises, stretches, and you have some therapeutic release techniques, acupuncture, deep tissue, these things combined can really help you get to where you need to go. I will say that for me at least, I needed to put all of this stuff together in order to make it work well and efficiently. Yes, you can get some relief from one or the other, but to really come at your health issue full force, it's a good idea to apply multiple modalities and techniques. All right. So, if you can do modified yoga, you can do self administered massage if you can't afford to get it. There are ways to do it. I will show you that in future videos. Um, you can do some of these corrective exercises, building muscle groups, for instance, that are weak, and then stretching out and applying static release techniques to muscles that are tight, because we're a tensegrity structure. We are uh, tensile forces that are holding compression members in place. The tensile forces being the muscles, tendons, and ligaments, and the compression members being the bones. The bones are floating inside of these connective tissues, and they hold the structure by opposing those forces. So when one muscle group is too tight, it's going to pull the structure out of alignment and cause pain, because it's going to create compensation patterns, and very poor postural habits. So we want to address these things with a health professional. I'm going to demonstrate some things that I did for myself that I hope will help all of you, but that is going to be crucial for any type of pain. These spinal cord injuries, wherever you're at in your recovery, if you're gaining mobility, you're starting to walk, you've gone through physical therapy, and they're releasing you, or you've only been able to go so far, and you want to know, what else you can do. I hope that my journey can help you out. I'm not saying that it's going to guarantee that you're going to be able to get to where I am. It's very possible, but we're all different. I just hope that what I'm going to share with you can help. All right. So those are very important things to keep in mind. All right. With neurological conditions, it's really going to require certain techniques and exercises to get that sensory feedback, to retrain the brain body connection and tone down that spasticity or nerve pain. It's a real challenge with these conditions, but we're going to do our best to address them, because there are also a lot of balance and gait training exercises that I've done that I want to share with you all, and we will definitely get to those in further videos. Then we have all the props and tools that we can use, which I will share with you, all the tools that I used and some of the props as well. Um, it's a lot of work, and it's got to be consistent. That's one thing I want to make sure you all keep in mind. This has to be a consistent process. You have to constantly do these things, sometimes multiple times per day. Um, for instance, I did some of my hand stretching and leg stretching at least twice a day. So I was determined. I wanted, this tension to go away. It's still very tense in my body, and especially when it gets cold and under certain circumstances. But um, I have relaxed that spasticity quite a bit over time, and there's certain techniques that I will demonstrate that I've been able to do this with. So, but yeah, and then The tools for strengthening are going to be important too, especially with the fingers and the hands. So there are some tools that maybe some of you received from your therapist, but in the beginning, I used things as simple as foam and putty, rubber bands too, for the extensors. But yeah, there are a lot of them, and it can get a little overwhelming, but you just have to assess yourself, okay? If we're not assessing, we're guessing. So you really have to assess yourself to find out which muscle groups need to be strengthened, which ones need to be released and stretched. All of our muscles really need to be strengthened. It's just where's the focus going to be? You know, the bicep in these flexor patterns of abnormal synergy with spinal cord injuries and strokes. The bicep is constantly activated and it's in constant flexion. So, we need to do things that are going to stretch and relax the bicep, and then work at getting the triceps muscles to fire and strengthen. So that's just one example, but we're going to need to focus on that for sure. All right. So um, again, it's important to stick with these things, be consistent, accept the situation that you're in, because there's no other way out of it except to move forward and come up with a plan. All right. You have to set goals for yourself in order to move forward and heal yourself. Okay. So I hope that helps. We'll get to the specifics in further videos. And if you've gotten value out of this video here today, then smash that like button and subscribe to my channel.